Today we are going to be using proportions to find sales tax, markups, tips, and discounts. And these are things that we do a lot in the real world. Sales tax, I'm going to copy down these definitions, is a percent of your purchase that is added on to the cost of the purchase. Markups are a percent of the whole sale price of an item that a business adds on to determine the final cost. So when the business buys the product from the main company, they don't pay as much as they charge in the store. What they do is they mark up the price by a certain percent. And tip is the percent of the charge of a service that is added on to the charge. Like when you go to a restaurant, you add on a percent of your cost of your meal to tip your waitress. Or if you're getting your hair done, you may add a tip to your hairdresser. And a discount is a percent of the cost of an item that is taken from the cost. So if I'm going to the store and getting a discount, maybe because I work at the store or because I have a coupon, they'll take a percent of the cost of the item off of the cost of the original. So please take a second to copy down these definitions. If you need to, pause the tape so you can get all definitions. So what we're going to look at, if you notice, every one of these involve the words percent. And we have been working with percent lately, and we have been using proportions for our percent. Ratios to write our percents, and then we write a proportion to what we're comparing it to. So for my first example, I know that Jason bought a pair of $30 pants on sale for 15% off. So I've got $30 pants and they are on sale. So if I look back at my definitions, sale means subtract. It wants to know what is the cost of the product. So here's my question. What is the cost of the pants? So the first thing I need to figure out is what is 15% off of that $30. So I know to write the 15 over 100 because that's how we write 15%. And now I know the pants, the whole price of the pants is $30. And I'm finding what part of it. And if you remember before, we've learned that it would be part over the whole. So the whole price of the jeans, the whole 100% is $30. I don't know what the 15% is, so I'm going to put an X on the top. And I'm going to do my means times my, I'm going to start with my extremes though, because the variables are extremes times extremes, so 100 times X. And my means times my means, 30 times 15, so that gives me 100x, 30 times 15, clear out my calculator, 30 times 15 is 450, and then I'm going to divide both sides by the 100, and I get X is, divide by 100, 4.5. Now remember, this is money on jeans, so I've got to add a 0 to it. So X is 450. Now does it make sense that the cost of my pants are going to be $4.50 when it's originally $30? Remember, this is the sale. That's how much they're taking away from the pants. So I need to take the $30 pants and subtract the $4.50 sale from them. So I'm going to stick that in my calculator, or I can subtract it right there. $30 minus $4.50. Oops. Oh, I put too many decimals in. Hold on. $30 minus $4.50, and I get $25.50. So the $25.50 is the cost of the pants. This is a two-step. First we find the percent they're taking off, and then we take it away from the cost of the pants. So this is the 15% off. But the question would know, what's the cost of the pants? My second one says that Linda spent $88.75 on 2 pairs of shoes. If the sales tax is 6%, what is the total cost? So I'm going to highlight my facts. I know that it's $8.75 for the 2 pairs of shoes, and the sales tax is 6%. And it wants to know what is the total cost. And if I go back a page and I look at sales tax, it says it's added on. So this time I'm going to have to add on. So I'm going to set up my proportion. I know that she is getting 6% out of 100. And I know that the total, the whole cost, the whole 100% is $88.75, but I don't know what the 6% is. So I have my whole part over my whole. And I'm going to do my extremes times my extremes, because my variable's up there. And my means times my means. 88.75 times 6. That gives me 100x. Remember to put that in as $88.75. $88.75 times my 6%. I get 532.5, but remember, since it's money, I'm going to add my 0. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 100, and I get x equals 5.325. But remember, this is money, and we don't go 3 places after the decimal. So that 5 there tells me to round that up to $5.33. And then I ask myself, remember, I'm trying to find what is the total cost. Well, if the shoes are $88.75, that doesn't make sense, and I'm going to pay $5.33 for everything. So remember, that has to get added on because it's a sales tax. So 88.75 sales tax is added on to the purchase. And this one I'm going to do right here on the board. 5 and 3 is 8. 0. Carry my 1. 8, 9, 14. Carry my 1. And there we go. So it's $94.08 for the total, including my 2 pairs of shoes and my sales tax. I'm going to pay $94.08. Let's go down to our next example. And I'm going to erase this just a little bit because I went down into it. And I'm going to read my problem. It says, Best Buy paid $135 for a Samsung TV from the corporation. If they mark up the price 16%, how much will the TV cost? And that means, what am I going to pay? They only paid $135, but they want to make some money, so they're going to mark up the price. So I'm going to highlight my information. I know that Best Buy paid $135. I know they're marking up 16%. And I want to find the TV cost that I'm going to pay. So I'm going to start with my percent. 16% means 16 over 100. And the 135 is the 100% that they're paying. I'm trying to find the 16% that they're going to add on. So I have my part over my whole. Now I'm going to do my extremes times my extremes. So my variables on that side. And my means times my means. 135 times 16. 100 times x is 100x. 135 times times 16 is 2,160. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 100. Let me see if I have room down. Nope, don't have room down there, so I'm going to leave it there. So divide by 100. And I get 21.6. But remember, since it's money, I have to add a 0 on. And now remember, it's going to make sense that if Best Buy paid $135, they're marking it up, then I'm only going to pay $21 for the TV. So next, I have to add that on because it says mark up. So I'm going to take my $135 and add to it the $21.60. And I'm going to add it right here on my paper. You may use your calculator. 0, 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. 5 plus 1 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. Bring down my 1. So they are going, the TV will cost $156.60 for the TV. After Best Buy marks it up. They probably mark it up more than that, but that's what our example is telling us. And the last example for today says here that Lindsay spent $136 on, oh, that's a typo, on, oh, that should be at Clothing Hut. If there is a 8% sales tax, what is her total purchase? So I'm going to highlight my facts. I know that she spent $136. Oh, and actually we don't need this word dollars, guys, so we'll cross that out. $136 at Clothing Hut. There is an 8%, disappears sometimes, sales tax. And I need to find what her total purchase amount. So I'm going to start with my 8%. 8 out of 100 is how we write 8%. I know that 136 is the whole amount she spent. And I'm trying to find the 8% of that. So I have my part over my whole. I'm going to do my extreme times my extreme is equal to my means times my means. I get 100x equals 136 times 8. And I get 1,088. And I'm going to divide both sides by 100. And I'm left with x equals, divide by 100. And I get $10.88. But remember, that's not going to make sense that if she spent $136, that her total purchase will be $10.88. Remember, that's the sales tax. Sales tax is added on. So put my $136 and put my change, no change, $10.88. And I'm going to add this right up here. You can use a calculator if you need to. 6, 3 plus 1 is 4, 146. So her total purchase is $146.88 total. So just remember that if it's a sales tax, you need to add that on. If it's a markup, we add that on. If it's a tip, we add that on. And if it's a discount, we subtract that. So what I would like you to do is you have 1, 2, 3, 4 practice problems of your own. If you need to, go back, look at the tape. And if you have any questions, write them down and we'll talk about them in class tomorrow.